Another issue in business ethics is corporate culture. And this is where when you are looking for a job, this is one of the things that most people don't think about, especially if it's like your first job and you're really excited to even get an offer, is the culture of the business compatible with your personal set of your personal ethics, your personal way of being. And there are some, especially in highly competitive businesses, where there's a pressure to perform, and you bend the rules. It's not really cheating to game the emissions tests so that our diesel cars seem like they're much more pollution-free than they are, and it's not cheating to open a couple of accounts for a customer after they've left the shop because I knew that they'd want those accounts. But again, it's when you get the high pressure environment, and one is there's pressure to perform, and then we also mimic the behavior of the people at the top. So if the people at the top are fudging expense reports, if they're doing things that are questionable, then it's likely that employees are doing things that are questionable. Another issue in business is this idea of groupthink. And groupthink I guess it was Conrad Janis that first outlined the principle back in the 60s, I think it was. But groupthink is a situation when you have a highly insular decision-making body that doesn't take a lot of outside information into account and just starts making decisions on their own. And when you get that going, where you've got similar people making decisions without a lot of outside perspective, sometimes you can just get things going in really weird areas, and you come up with what after the fact look like really bizarre decisions, but they seem to had made sense at the time you made the decision. Which leads us to the concept of whistleblowers. Whistleblowers is a term for people who tell about unethical activity that's done by others in their business. And it's a dangerous situation because businesses tend to want to defend themselves, and they will defend themselves against any attack. And a whistleblower will be perceived as an attack. There are some legal protections for whistleblowers, and certainly in state government there are legal protections for whistleblowers. But it's a risky situation. It's not uncommon for people to retaliate against a whistleblower. Another issue in corporate culture is the idea of a code of ethics. Most organizations will have a mission statement and maybe a code of ethics, a written statement of the standards and values. And the evidence is that a code of ethics is as good as the paper it's written on. For example, Enron had a code of ethics. And I'm sure Wells Fargo has a code of ethics. And I'm sure Volkswagen has a code of ethics. Right? And so what happens is, this is a book, Jerry Porras, that Stanford did this research many years ago in his book, Built to Last. And what he looked at is companies that had come to a point where they had to make a decision that was in the short term against the interest of their company, but consistent with their code of ethics. In other words, there came a situation where they chose ethical behavior over short-term profitability. And what he found is that those companies that chose ethical behavior over short-term profitability outperformed their peers in the industry group by 15%. So again, you can do well by doing good.